I hate living in the age of AI. But that's not the point in this video. Hello again. Hello YouTube. Hello me. I didn't even know I was wearing this t-shirt, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't even know what I was wearing today. That's how hectic today was. This is officially the start of my day. It's 3 minutes till 5 p.m. Uh, I didn't get to bed till very late last night. As you can see, I'm back home. Yeah, we had some stuff on, and I had a guy staying in the same room. We couldn't agree on how we were gonna sleep. We tried to get to sleep in multiple different ways, and it just didn't work out. And then eventually, out of nowhere, he just fell asleep out of nowhere, and I was left there at like 3:30 or something, thinking to myself, do I pull an all nighter? And I tried to thug it out myself and went to bed. I woke up an hour late. By an hour late, I mean I had to have been in the place 7 minutes ago, and I had so much doubt and felt so much weakness that I thought it was the right choice to not go at all and to just not do anything. But it was a very important day for me, regardless of how much I care. It's still an important day. And there's something I want to touch on in this video, but it'll take me a while to get there. Yeah, it was a hectic day, and actually, I could expedite the process and just say it. After we had eaten, after we had eaten, I was meant to talk to somebody, but they were being talked to by so many different people. It took maybe an almost 2 hours to speak to this person. I thought it wouldn't have took that long, and then I had to bike all the way home because I forgot I'd brought the bike. Even though that morning I'd biked to the place, and I just felt like I was forgetting so much. And over the past couple of days, regardless of all the videos I've been making, I've been feeling weak, emotionally, mentally, spiritually weak, and I've been really disappointed with my own writing. And I think it was a bad choice, the wrong choice, to stay over at that friend's house. Not because of the friend, not because of what happened. Nothing happened really. It's just the wrong choice because of the topic of today's video. Ah, title card. How do I want to say this? Perform your rituals. Find your zone. Find your comfort. The couple of days away. And mind you, this is why I'm making a video. Because I feel like I've got into this new routine where I have to do a video every day. And I don't know why. And I just want to do it. I just want to do it because I want to get myself back. It might be 5 p.m. and hey, I might not even do any writing today because by the time I get finished with everything that needs to be done, mind you, I want to go clean myself. I want to go and soak in a nice hot bath after waking up and feeling musky and going out into the cold morning air. That was cold. Not a speck of sunlight was in them clouds. Grey. Um, yeah, I. So it'll take a while for me to sort of. Well, I'm gonna dry some clothes. No, no, no. I've got dried clothes I need to pack up. That's a PS2 over there. I usually keep the gaming stuff in the cabinet down there, so I'm gonna have to figure out where to put it. I think I should put it in one of these. I think that's laundry that needs to be done. I definitely need to clean my, all the basics. I need to go through all the basics because I need my ritual. I need to go maybe light some candles, some incense, whatever it might be. I need. Now, it was good going to cafes and talking and reading and thinking. If there is no writing that's going to be done today, I want to read. I really want to read. Yesterday wasn't even the greatest. And I realised that I need to find my thing. And it's okay because it's okay. It's not selfish. We'd woken up in the morning and he had left the house at 9 a.m. He had a new routine going on. At 7:30 he'd wake up, 9 he'd be out the house, but I didn't know that routine. So he was a little bit upset at me, and every day we left the house for about 2 o'clock. Mind you, I'd recorded all the videos and done all my stuff by 2 o'clock, so it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything. But there was a miscommunication. A big one. And whenever he would come in the room, I was doing something that didn't look like I was doing anything, really. So a large part that's on me. And we had our own rituals, our own routines that we thought by being together we could just have fun and produce a large amount of work, but that's just not what happens. I found myself reading less pages. I found myself not even with the ability to write. I found myself in spaces and time that I just felt so uncomfortable in, you know? 30 minutes before we had to go leave and do something, but all of a sudden I had to focus for 30 minutes. I couldn't find myself in the right mind. Not to say that I've been perfect when I'm at home, when my feet are on the radiator and I'm scrolling shorts and I'm thinking, God, I know I've done my morning routine, but the next thing to do is to write now. And I'm just like, well, do I want to eat first? Should I scroll more? Should I watch something? You know, I know I'm not perfect, but there's a shield in this. There's a shield. There's a protection. There's comfort. There's safety. There's defense. That inside of your own ritual, inside of my ritual, everything becomes normal and doable, and all the hard things can become easier because you're able to tame them. And that's it for me, I think. If I'm to be dragged elsewhere, it's not really easy for me to do all my things, you know? My nighttime routine has largely consisted of lifting weights. Not for long at all. My bad for the pause there. I'm just so tired. And then I'd do a lesson of Duolingo, 1 or 2. Just keep that streak going. Doesn't matter what language it is. You know, I got a couple languages open. I got Italian, I got Chinese, I got Greek. And then I would try to become ambidextrous. This feels so weird, but yeah, you know, I can write. Mind you, I've even when I'm trying to learn with my right hand, I'm seeing how bad my actual handwriting is. But I would do that, you know, and then I gotta do my other things, and then I gotta wind down, get prepped for bed, and maybe then I'm squeezing in some relaxing time. Mind you, I'm not saying I'm not relaxing. You know, I'm not saying I'm the hardest worker in the room. Nothing like that. You know, I found myself in this predicament, and it's so hard because you've got a friend sitting there eating some food, and you know you've just finished your calories for the day, and he wants to talk. This guy wants to talk, and you want to go to bed, and those days were allowed. Those days are so allowed. They're justified. You're allowed to have those types of days. Don't think I have to work 24/7. Life is a social life as well as a work life. It's not a balance. It's both of them and many other things all at once. And I find that when you look at the circumstances, you really do have to find yourself comfortably in a position where you can attempt to master the tools that you want. And I know people might have different opinions on this, but I'm coming at it very specifically from a writer's point of view. If you say, no, you have to put yourself outside your comfort zone, okay, I can't write a story that I'm trying to write that I'm finding difficulty to find the right lexicon, to find the right diction, and to find the right, well, structure. And also attempt to go between two moving trains. I just can't do that. What I mean is it's not a sin. It's not a negative whatsoever. In fact, it would be toxic to say the opposite for somebody to come home or to be at home or to find themselves in that position they like to be in, whether it be the cafe, whether it be home, whether it be at the library, whatever it is, to sit down in front of what it is they need to sit down and battle that task. You don't need to battle your task and then, have a flame torch burning up your backside and then having to juggle, every word you type, you have to, it's just ridiculous. I'm going to extremes there because, I'm trying to make a point. But that's it. To master your ritual and to put yourself in a ritual isn't to say, oh, look at me. I need life to be easy for me to do the things I want to do. I'm saying that in a response to a thought process that I don't believe in, that I think other people have. Now, yes, if you want to be... no, it's a stoicism, it's a manosphere, it's all those types of things, right? Because, when you look at the David Goggins early morning runs and stuff, it's to master a certain thing, which, let's be honest, is so far from writing. I know what you mean, writing discipline. I have my own take, but for me, my writing would not be improved if I went for a morning run before I sat down and wrote. It's not my process. In fact, when I exercise, I can't really write after. It just not doesn't work for me. So I find myself always needing to write on a clear head. On a clear head and a clear mind after I've examined myself and I've examined the things I want to do with my day and I've thought deeply about my actions. That is when I'm able to write. I can't do that if I'm trying to juggle, if I'm trying to run. For my person, for myself, for my body, I go to the gym, I eat certain food. But to write, I don't do that. And this is all so roundabout, but you get my point. There's nothing wrong with tidying your room, making your desk look nice, putting some candles on, putting some music on, whatever it is that puts you in that space where you just go at it. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, right? We're working towards getting to that moment, and then in that moment, we're trying to make art, ultimately. And I think that's deeply important. Last year, in the November, December, October range, I found myself in a routine. And routines are so unbelievably powerful because they help your mind, they help you accept. Discipline is not my favorite word, just because I don't think it's being used correctly by today's standard of the word. I think it's chucked around like it's something you could just use to put on any point and make your point worthwhile, or to make anything worthwhile. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not discipline to drink your own piss or to have 80 pills a day. It's not discipline to go on a 50-mile run. I don't really believe in discipline coming from a self-imposed what do they call it? Handicap, that's it. I don't believe discipline comes from a self-imposed handicap. Mind you, I do think you need strength and discipline to do those things. The run part, not the pills and the piss. But I think there's other features of life to where I say there's a thought process that I'm reacting to that I don't even want this video to be about. I think it's so important that you have such a strong, deep connection with yourself and with the routine you find yourself in. But obviously, if there's to be changes, if there's to be things that mess around or things that go wrong, I think that's where people would commonly put the word, and I'd agree with the usage of discipline, being disciplined enough to acknowledge the changes, acknowledge the wedge, in the plan, the hand on the cog or whatever, stopping the machine working, and to say, you know what, regardless, I'll push forward. But you can only really do that when you have a solid routine, when you've disciplined yourself. And then again, I don't like saying that word. I really don't like that word at all. When you've worked towards yourself, when you've put effort into yourself to gain a routine, to gain stability, because it gains work. It takes work. It takes work to put stability and balance and routine into your life. And as a writer, I think it's so deeply, deeply, deeply needed. Every great writer has a routine. You have to find your own. I've been finding my own recently. But when the semester starts up and I have to do this work, I'll need to find myself doing a dissertation as well. And that's going to take a lot of effort. So I can't find myself in the cold, no food for 52 hours trying to write. I can't. I have to put myself in the most optimal conditions possible to attempt to create the best work I can. And today wasn't one of those. And today will never be one of those, because it's already 5:15. I'm going to go and try to get myself clean and to fix myself up. And then I'll try and just take the day for what it is. You could call it discipline, you could call it whatever you want. I don't really see it as anything at all. I'm just going to try and say, you know what? Let's just do the routine as if it's 11 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whenever it is I might have woken up on today. Let's just do it. Purely for the love of the game. Not because of discipline. Not because of power or strength or anything of the sort. Not because of my mental fortitude or nothing like that. Those words don't resonate with me. But I'm doing it because the heart. I'm a writer, and I refuse to let this day go to waste. If I can learn and grow just a tiny bit, if I can evaluate myself just a tiny bit, then I think it's well worth it. Already the things I've done today aren't the things I wanted to do. Although I did want to do them, they're not my thing, Well, they are my thing. Sorry to be so mysterious, but, it's not my writing, it's not my routine. It was something, unforeseen. I just got told, this is going to happen on this day. You have to be there. So I thought, I'm not going to say no, because I actually want to be there. But it's, it's not how I would want to choose to live my day. And that's not in saying that I'm correct by saying that. I'm saying I wanted to be lazy. I'm saying I wanted to kick back. I'm saying I didn't want to get up that early. I'm saying I wanted to relax and I wanted to doom scroll and all these things. So I'm not saying that what I want is always right for me. There's a complexity in there. But there was this thing and it took up so much time and I thought it would take up less time. Because I thought we would be finished roughly around about 2 o'clock, and it's just not the case. And then even going there, I thought, you know what, let's still just find ourselves in a position later on where we just do our routine. Let's act as though the moment you come home, that's when the day starts. That's okay. Just put yourself in a routine. That's the key point of this video. No matter what you do, just find yourself in a position to produce optimal output. And that sounds so toxic because I feel like it's just not what a writer does. You don't produce optimal output, but find yourself in that position where you feel comfortable, your heart and your mind feels right, and you say to yourself, we're fine, we've got this, we can do this now. Instead of killing yourself over stuff that needn't be, you know? Part of a routine is so important, and I really do hope that I'm able to get a good routine going, especially for the new year, especially for the new semester, especially for the springtime coming around. You know, spring's going to bring in a lot of different emotions and feelings and inspirations, so I want to find myself comfortable to where if I am to get a deep inspiration, something to do with nature, if I'm to go out for a couple of days, maybe if I'm to camp, or maybe if I'm to go on a trip, or you know, on a field trip, then I've still got all my routine that I can do, and I find myself not thinking, oh, I just wasted time on this, rather, oh, I just had valuable inspiration today, and I just did this thing and it really helped, and I can use these things for projects, you know. I can use this to better myself and better my writing and so much more, rather than finding myself sleeping into 5 o'clock or whatever, going out, come back home, realizing the only thing I did was spend X amount of money on a train to go look at trees, and I didn't do anything. And obviously that will go into a cycle of despair and frustration and stuff, you know. So what happens when you don't do stuff? You go into that cycle of feeling frustrated and shit, and then feeling frustrated again and feeling shit again. And the power of a routine protects you from that, you know. The power of routine, the power of a routine isn't a nice, easy bubble where you're comfortable and everything is easy. The power of a routine is you actively attempting to make the greatest of the day, and to attempt to replicate previous days, and to make each day better with that same level of progress and effort you did in the day previous. And that's why the routine is so important, because it has power, because it's not about you manipulating reality, but it's about you putting your stamp in it, putting your effort in it, really trying. And that's why I value routine, and that's why I want to tell myself this in the video, you know, to keep these routines, whatever you might find yourself in, at least make one if you don't have one. To find yourself in a beautiful position to where you can sit up out of bed in the morning and say, I'm not going to sit back down. I'm going to go face the things I want to face. I'm going to have that chance to live, you know, to have that routine. It's to have the sword. The sword's a metaphor, by the way. To have a sword that gives you the power. I'm not going to say it in a metaphor, I'm not going to go roundabout this time. I'm just going to say, you have a sword which lets you fight the day. You know, if you didn't have that sword to fight the day, you'd have to do it with your hands and your teeth, and you know, it's a more barbaric way, and it's definitely more uncomfortable. But if you have a sword to fight it, you know, whatever beast it might be. If I'm to try and fight, let's go a little bit reasonable here. A mountain lion. If I'm to fight a mountain lion with my bare hands, yeah, maybe like that guy in California, I could choke it out, but it would take a lot of effort and I would get damaged. But if I were to have a gun, like another guy in California, I could just shoot it. And I think that's it. You arming yourself with tools to be able to overcome obstacles. And obstacles are quite simple. Emotions, temptations, circumstances, whatever it might be. So you find yourself in a position to say, you know what? All that evil that's trying to come in on my life, all of that harmful stuff that's trying to invade this bubble of peace, where I've worked for this bubble. I've worked, you know. I'm going to actively defend it. I'm going to go from different parts of the fort, different vantage points, you know, and I'm going to make sure that I'm holding myself down because I'm not going crazy. I'm gonna make something of myself, and today I'm gonna do it in a similar way I did yesterday, because it proved itself to work. And I hope to replicate it and try just a little bit better today. Your routines are so important. So important. And they help so much. And you need to keep them. And you need to fight to keep them. Yes. But if your friends call you up and say, what do you want to do today? I'll go for a drink. Yeah. Life, innit? Alright. Don't know why you watched this video. Waste of time.